What's up, everyone? Today I'm doing Sauna from HackTheBox. This was a 20-point easy Windows box created by Egotistical. We start this box off with our nmap scan, and after some poking around, we see that we can't really enumerate much, but we do find a staff page that we build a user list off of. This allows us to request a pre-auth ticket for the user fsmith, and once we crack it, we get logged into the box. We do some enumeration and find some auto-login credentials for another user. From there, we run bloodhound and find that we might be able to run a DCSync attack. We run secretsdump.py and we're able to dump the hash for the administrator account. We can pass the hash with evil-winrm and we get logged into the box as administrator. So let's get started. Okay, we start this box off with nmap, sv, sc, oa. We'll put it in the nmap directory and we'll call it Sauna. And the IP address is 10.10.10.175. I've already run this, so let's take a look at the output. And we can see we have a whole bunch of ports open. I've already got my notes started, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cat the nmap. And we're going to look for open. And I'm just going to put that into my notes file. So then when we go and look at our notes, we see we have all the ports here. So it looks like we have DNS open, port 80 open, which is a web server. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. And we'll come back and take a look at these other ports in just a moment. Okay, so this looks like a bank website. We want all of your money and we're not afraid to ask. Good characteristic for a bank. We see an About Us page, blogs, contact us. So we have a contact us form. I can just do Keegan at like.subscribe. And we'll just write a message, hello. And we send that. And we get page not allowed. So nothing really here too much. Server's not running PHP, anything that we can really upload. We have an apply page. Oh, that's the contact page. So let's go back and look at the other ports. So if we wanted to look at 135 RPC client, and we'll do no user, and we'll do the IP address and see if we can get any information. So we'll try to enumerate the domain users with the enum users, and we get denied. So we can't really get anything out of here. Denied. So nothing there. So we did no user, access denied. For listing any domain info. Okay, so then we can take a look at 445. And we can do that with SMB client. And we'll do -L and 10.10.10.175. No password. And it looks like we don't get anything. So I'll just copy that. Go back to our notes real quick. Set paste so it doesn't paste weird. There we go. So nothing really there either. What else do we have? LDAP, so we could look, I guess that's going to be 389, we see we have the domain name. And let's see if we can do an LDAP search to get any more information. So we'll just LDAP search. I think it's H for host. IP address is 10.10.10.175. We'll want to do simple authentication, so X. And that just means it's not going to ask us for the bind password. We'll do S, which I believe is naming context. Or naming scheme or something. S is scope, search scope. So we'll do space. And do we need any other information here? No, I think that's it. So run this. We get some information. We get the naming context, server name, so I'll go ahead and copy this to put this in the notes and see if we have any other information up here. And it looks like no, not really. So LDAP search. Didn't come back with a whole lot. So that pretty much leaves us back at the web page and see if we have anything interesting here. Looks like we have a lot of links. We have a team page. And it looks like we have a meet the team section. So can I pull these all out of a div instead of having to type them? Image fluid 1. Okay, so I guess what I could do is copy this and we could curl that. And it's going to print all that out to our terminal. And we could grep for img fluid. And so what that's going to do is it's just going to show all those images, right? But what we could also do is we could grep -a, and there's probably a much better way to do this, but this is just a fast way to do it. And we're going to grab the line right after it. So we want to grep for the result and one line after it. img fluid. And it looks like that grabs us all of these names here. So then we can run that back through and look for MT2. Does that work? Okay, and we'll just put this in users. Okay, so I'm actually going to put this in my notes real quick because we're back at port 80. And I'm going to copy this actually, and I'm going to put this down at the bottom. That way it's just easier to add things to it since it's at the bottom of the file and we're not having to go up and down all the time. Okay. Perfect. I think I just saved that as tilde. Okay, so I'm going to put this here. And remove that weird tilde file I just made. Okay, so now when we look at users, we have all this stuff. I'm gonna run a shell command from within Vim, which you can just do with %! And then we could say we want to cut on this delimiter and grab the second one. This. I think this will work from within Vim. I'm actually not really sure. Yeah, it did. Okay, and then so what we can do is just Control V to go into visual block mode, come and delete all this. Now I've got a list of names. That was probably much slower than just copying them out, but if this was a page with several hundred names, I think that would have been a lot faster. It's always good to automate things when you can. And so what I want to try to do with this is see if we can verify if any of these users exist. And so what we can do with that, the way we can do that is with GetNPUsers, and I'll show you how we can verify users with this. So GetNPUsers.py is normally used for checking for Kerberos pre-authentication. But let's say we wanted to run GetNPUsers.py and we put in the IP address 10.10.10.175, and we know the, well, let's say we don't even know for sure the name of the domain. We just know that's egotistical bank.local maybe. And then we want to try to see if a user exists. So we could try admin. And, well, here, we'll try Emily, since that one, it may exist, it may not exist. And then we want a request, and we want no pass. So, or we'll just say no pass. And request. Okay. So we try this, and it'll tell us that it's the wrong realm. So with this, you could check to see if this is correct as well. So if we mess with this a little bit, we eventually arrive at this error, which says Kerberos session error, principal unknown, client not found in Kerberos database, right? So this is definitely, Emily is definitely not a user. Now, if we put one in that probably exists, say administrator, because domains usually have a domain administrator named administrator, we can see that there is a user. It just does not have pre-auth set. So if we go into our users file, and these are probably not all usernames because there's a space in it. But what we can do is we can put these in a list. So I'm going to write a quick Python script here. I didn't like that. Okay. Whatever. So we're just going to put these in a list. Like that. And we'll just call this users. And I'm going to call this user enumeration.py. Get out of here. Okay, so now we have, oh, I put an F in the front of all of these on accident. Okay, so now we have our user list. This looks pretty terrible. There we go. This might look a little bit better. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to create a list of possible users. So we'll say for I in users, Well, this might not work because there's a space here. Let's see, how do I want to do this? We could say for I and users, name equals I, well, name is an empty list, and then we'll say name equals, how do you split a string on a space in Python? Because that's pretty much what I'm trying to do. So just to give some context before I struggle through this, I am trying to manipulate the first name and the last name by doing things like first.last name, last letter, this dot last name, etc. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so I think it's just dot split. Okay, so if I had Python going and I said a equals hello world, and I did a dot split, what do I get? Okay, perfect. Name equals I dot split. That's perfect. Okay, so that's going to throw that into a list. So we would have Fergus and Smith here, and then I want to say, I'm going to call this generate name, and it's going to take in a name. It's going to take in a user. Here, we'll do it that way. That way I don't have all the variables named the same thing. So we'll say for I in users, I was going to take in a list of users. Okay. So we'll say for I in users, name equals I dot split, and then we will print name of 0, which is the first one, and the first character, which is 0, plus name of the second element. So if I did this, and we did gen name of users, let's see what happens. We should get the first and last. First letter and last. So we see that worked. So then I can go in and modify this to do other combinations. So then we could print name of 1, which is a last name, or we could say name of 1 of 0, which is the last name and the first letter of the last name, and we could do the first name. So the first name and the last letter, or and the first letter of the last name. Now we could do both of these again. Except we could add a dot. To both of them. And then last but not least, we could try the first name dot last name. So we'll do name of 1 plus dot plus name, that's name of 0, name 1, like that. And then I guess just for completion's sake, we should do the last name dot first name as well. I'm not sure that I've ever seen that one, but okay, so this should generate all of those for our users. Invalid syntax. Oh, I forgot the plus sign. Okay, so we do this, and it generates all of these things for our users. So I'm just going to do that into, I'll just call this one user list. Okay, and so earlier what we were doing is we were doing this GetNPUsers.py. So I can write a small loop to go through and say egotistical-bank local of I, and we'll say for I in cat user list. I'm gonna get rid of this. And we'll get rid of this, just so it's kind of clear what I'm doing. So I'm gonna retype that. So we have this get NP users, and then I'm going to say of I, and we'll say for I in cat user list do get npusers.py, all this stuff, and then we'll be done. So that should loop through each user in user list and test this. I messed up somewhere. What if we just did that then? There. And so we already see that it not only verified a user, we actually got a ticket. But from this, we see that it's testing all of these names. Hugo Bear, Bear Hugo, S Curb, Stephen K, S. Curb. It just so happened the first one in our list actually got a result, and not only was it a valid user, we got a pre-auth Kerberos ticket from it. So I'm gonna rerun this, and I'm going to tee this into a file, and I'm gonna call this np requests.txt, and we'll come back and look at it in a second to get the rest of our users. And we'll do t minus a to append. Okay, so that's running. What we want to do with this is we want to crack it. So let's go back into our notes real quick. And we wrote a script that loops through username combinations, tested against pre-auth, and we got a ticket. So I'll just name this fsmith ticket. .text. Wow, that looks really terrible. I think this is all supposed to be on one line. So I'm just going to go through and get rid of these new line characters. There. Okay, and I think we can just pass this directly to John. So we can say John, give it a word list, and we'll throw out rock you. Users share word lists rocku.txt and fsmith is what we're trying to crack. So we'll let this run. We'll go look and see if this thing is done. Looks done. So we can, what was it called? NP requests. And we can, what did it say on the very top one? So we'll get rid of copyright, we'll get rid of not found. Yeah, so I guess that's what we'll do. There might have been a way to do this so that the errors weren't listed. Maybe with to dev null. So we'll cat NP users, or NP requests. No, actually, yeah, we'll do that. NP users, okay. We're just in Vim. So we're going to get rid of all of the not found. So all these lines that say client not found are gonna go away. And we can just do this with grep. So %bang, grep -v for invert, client not found. All those are gone. We can get rid of everything that says copyright in the same manner. And so then let's go down and see if we have any lines. Looks like interesting. So that was the only user. It looks like there were no other users. So that's it. So let's go back and check on this. Looks like it cracked it. Password is the strokes. Put this in our notes. Got a ticket for user fsmith. Cracked with John. Password the strokes 23. So save that. I'll put this on my clipboard and we'll test it against evil-winrm to see if we can log in as fsmith. Give it the password, and it looks like we can. So is this our user for user.txt? Sure is. Grab that. And that's user. So we're gonna go through standard enumeration on this to see what other things we can see on the box. So we'll do who am I, anyone fancy, who am I, all, remote management, users, network, no strange privileges, nothing immediately obvious. So we'll go into ctemp. We'll go into C. We'll make a directory called temp, and then we'll go into temp so we can start our privesk. So I'm gonna copy from my Windows tools, winpeas. So let's grab the 64-bit version, and we'll upload winpeas. Give that a second to upload. Oh. Is that done? Okay, it didn't like that. keys64.exe is 0 bytes. Interesting. I guess let's go grab winpeas again. So you can just grab this from GitHub. There is a binary, and then you can just go to the releases and grab the release. Download it. 238 kilobytes, so that should not be 0. So I'm just gonna copy this link, and I'm just gonna use curl. Interesting. Why won't it let me get this? Interesting. Okay, 1 sec while I grab winpeas. Okay, we're back. What I did is I just cloned the whole repository and then went and grabbed the release. So we've got it now. And the repository, just so you know, is the privilege escalation awesome script suite. You can just go grab it, git clone this directory, and then go pull out the release that you need. So we'll upload keys64. Oh, I renamed it also, just so I can tell which one's 64-bit and which one's 32-bit. Okay, so we upload this. Now let's run this. And we'll give this a sec to run, and then we'll look at the output. Okay, so the script just finished running. Let's go ahead and take a look at the output. Okay, we don't see anything super interesting. Okay, so winpeas is really good for showing you, or it gives these links, which are really nice. Like, it'll say something and then tell you, hey, this is a link you should check out, which I think is pretty nifty. These are our current privileges. We looked at that with Who Am I. It found autologon credentials for SVC Loan Manager. So if we grab these, put these in our notes. So winpeas found autologon credentials, or autologon credentials. Okay, so we can test this. This is the user, and this is a password. So let's test it with evil-winrm. And this is a password. Okay, and this usually comes up pretty fast, but it looks like it's taking a minute, so that might not be correct. So we can go back and look to see maybe, I want to keep this output up, so I'm going to do a, what was it, strokes for the password? Yeah. I'm going to do another winrm shell, so we can keep this winpeas output up. fsmith, and the password. See, that comes up pretty fast. So we can look at the users that exist with net users. And we don't see SVC loan manager, but we do see SVC loan MGR. So let's try with that one. Yeah, so see, this is an authorization error. So let's try, instead of loan manager, let's try MGR. And we're also going to need our notes. So we can grab this password. That one looks like it's taking a while too. So that might not be correct either. It looks like we may not need this anyway. We'll try SVC loan MGR without the domain and the password, and we get logged in. So do we have any more information here? Nothing. Am I part of any special groups? It doesn't look like it. So from here, I got pretty stuck, but I was able to eventually move past it. There's an older machine that has a similar method to privilege escalation to this one, and it involved using bloodhound. So we're going to use that here. So I'm going to grab sharphound from my Windows tools. And we're going to upload it. So we'll go into that temp directory. And if you've never used bloodhound, just Google it, and there's some pretty good guides out there. Why did I click this? Active Directory. And there's some good information here. So it kind of goes through and tells you how to set it up. Just as quick reference, started with Neo4j console. That'll start the database. Okay, and then you can actually run bloodhound with I think just bloodhound. And that'll run this. And then you're going to want to log into your database. You'll set a password when you initially set this up. Okay, and we're greeted with Nothing, because we don't have any information in here. So looking at the docs, we'll see how we can use this. So this is kind of the install instructions. You can run sharphound.exe. I uploaded the PowerShell script, which I don't really think it matters. I mean, depending on if there's antivirus or not, the PowerShell script may be better. So we can look at the syntax for the PowerShell script. So bloodhound or sharphound .ps1. Let's look at examples. This one's good. It kind of shows you how to install it, configuring it, running sharphound. So this is pretty much what we're going to do. We're going to invoke bloodhound, collect all. We don't necessarily need to give it a folder. And so we would go here. I'll put this in a new window. Go here, and we would run sharphound, and that pretty much sources the PowerShell, so we have access to all the modules. So then we could invoke bloodhound, collection method all, run this. That didn't seem to work. Did it? Oh, it did work. That was fast. Okay, so then it outputs this file, so you just download it. Okay, and then I'm just gonna run a file manager real quick to make this super easy, because put this over here, we can just drag this zip file directly into Bloodhound and it'll load it in. So it's processing the file. And it's really cool. I haven't used it that much, just on a couple machines on HackTheBox, and that's my experience with it. But it seems really useful. You can run a bunch of queries. You can write your own queries. And the one that interests us is going to be shortest path to domain admin. There we go. So we could look at this, and it'll show us the only administrator is administrator. And we can also look at principals with DC rights. And we can kind of look at the permissions here. So we see us down here, SVC loan MGR, and we can look at these. So if we look at get changes, you right click it, look at help. We have DS replication, get changes privilege on the domain. So individually this doesn't do anything, but in conjunction with DS replication get changes, a principal may perform a DCSync attack. So abuse info, this pretty much says with get changes and get changes all privileges. So we have get changes, and we also have get changes all. It looks like we might be able to do this. So this is an LSA dump in Mimikatz. but there is an impacket module that will kind of do the same thing called secretsdump. And so if we look at secretsdump.py, that's a Medium post. I'm not really interested in that. No offense to Medium. Okay. Oh, VB Scrub actually has a really good video on this. So with secretsdump, well, what I'm looking for is something that kind of explains secretsdump with a DCSync attack. Okay. I've been here before. Okay, so you can pretty much perform a DCSync attack with the correct permissions by just running secretsdump the user and just DC, and it'll dump all of these secrets. So we want to try that. So we'll come over here and we'll run secretsdump. The domain /our user at the DC. So it's egotistical bank.local /svc loan mgr at 10.10.10.175 minus just DC, and our password and it looks like we get a bad username. Oh, because I can't type. Loan mgr. Give it the password. And it's trying, and we get an administrator hash. So I'm going to pretty much copy all of this. Oh, it also grabs Kerberos keys. So that's cool. Copy this. So as a recap, Bloodhound tells us we can run a DCSync attack. I'm just going to paste this here. We can do this with secretsdump from impacket. Go ahead and post this in here, just next time I don't have to hunt around on Google for this. And this is the hash we are interested in. So we'll grab this. And we'll try to evil-winrm with this. Evil-winrm. And if we look at the options for this, we can pass it a hash. So this part is going to be the NT hash, I'm pretty sure. So we'll evil-winrm minus I, 10, 10, 10, 175, minus H, our hash, and the user is administrator. See if that lets us in. Looks like it's not gonna. So, do I need the entire thing here? It's possible. I'll just copy this down. And we'll just paste all of this in here. Invalid hash format. So, it doesn't like that. Does it like the 3 colons at the end? It doesn't like that either. It's not the first part. Is it? Because if we look at our notes, the first part on all of these is the same. So this is the part of the hash that's important. Connection refused. Oh, I see. I see what I've done. I can't type an IP address. So this is 10.10.10.175. And it looks like we're in. So check out the desktop. Grab root.txt. And we've got it. So who am I all? We'd see all of our privileges. Looks like we're domain admin. Yes, we're domain admin. But yeah, that's the box. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next week.